Okay, so let's look at delayed reaction EP, which is the best thing for like a lazy people or those who cannot get into a EP on the first day or those who don't have enough expertise to get into a EP on the first day of the EP. This is your best low this thing. The second big advantage, okay, is that DEP gives you a closer stop than buying on the first day because on the first day you don't know whether the stock is going to sell off or what is going to happen. Like in a way, you have no idea. You're like in a not very clear whether the stock is going to have like in a this thing right and basically, and then after first day's action is clear, you can enter and it's much easier trade right and basically. So in order to do this, what you need to have is clear understanding of EP, and all that you're doing is once a catalyst is established, you're waiting for some days. Some of the best delayed reaction will happen within like a couple of days. On the short side, it might take a more number of days, but like typically what happens is you have a catalyst, and after the catalyst, and this works both on the long or short side. So you have a catalyst, and after you have a catalyst, after the catalyst, the stock has a small minor pullback. Right here, Reddit is a good example of this. Right here, the earnings came in. Earnings is the catalyst, right? Basically, these are the earnings. So earnings is very good. Projections is very good. The stock on that day makes a move, big move up around 41%. Then it pulls back, and then this is the delayed reaction entry, and then it goes up 70% or 80% based on like where you exited, or 91%, right? So in a delayed reaction EP, once the catalyst is established, you're looking for the first pullback or the first breakout, right? As soon as possible. And it gives you a time to see what is the reaction to earnings. It gives you a time to analyze the thing, all right? Uh, Start up a swing, right? And you can either enter it as also an anticipation setup or as a start up a swing, right? Basically, if you see AEVA, right here, this you could enter it as an anticipation or you could enter it as a start of a swing, right? Both of those are valid. There is a catalyst here, tie up with NVIDIA. This is the analysis. So there is a genuine catalyst. You see by the end of the day, the volume is also like in a 21 million. So that's one of the highest volume in the entire history of this stock, right? And so market consider this as a game-changing thing, right? All that you do is you wait like and you buy either here or you bought it on Friday. I bought it on Friday, I think. And yeah, I bought it on Friday, right? And basically, so that's like basically the uh, not for OPG. I don't know whether it will break out. Like I waited for a breakout, right? And when it shows up in my scan, SOS, right? And it is SOS, right? Now here is a stock which I bought uh, as a in anticipation, right? Now here is where there is a EP, right? And what kind of an EP is this? This is a thematic EP, right? And a 9 million thematic EP. I don't think the earnings are anything here. Like the earnings is not really the thing. It is just like in a theme, and theme, as you know, are like in a can fly, right? And basically, so this is like in a thematic EP. Now, all that it is doing is now after this, like it quickly went up, right? And there is a tightness here. And yesterday it was up or down 0.1%. So I entered it. Now, if it breaks out, I can add to the position and you have a very low risk entry. You could have entered it here also, but that day there were so many other EPs, so I missed this one. Now I'm going to enter this. right? And basically it's a thematic EP, right? And basically here UOSC again thematic. The theme is working, utilities, battery, storage, AI, it had a EP, small minor pullback, and yesterday it had a breakout, right? Basically. So that's the thing basically, right? And stops will always be same, right? And 40 cents or like things like that, right? So delayed reaction EP is what you are doing is you are identifying a stock with either a real catalyst or a story. It doesn't matter whether it has a real catalyst or a story. And then when it has either a pullback, anticipation, or SOS, you're buying. But typically, means like the most important thing is to buy the first one, right? After it makes three, four legs now, like and if it, a lot of people call this like this breakout also they'll call it delayed reaction. That's like you are so delayed, right? And basically that like you came in to wash the dishes, right? And basically, it's not right. And what is the first reaction is what you're looking for, right? And basically, now here, look at this, right? And lemonade, right? Lemonade had this catalyst here. On that day, it went up 25%. Volume is clear. You know what is the catalyst and all. And this is the delayed reaction, first logical delayed reaction, right? And basically based on that thing. Again, same thing happens. And this could have been a delayed reaction. It might have stopped you out. Second time SOS. And then that's a delayed reaction, right? So that is like what is basically uh, setup idea. Essentially, you the best one was last year MP, right? And on MP, rare earth defense department takes a stake, right? On that day, stock went up around 50%. So and it was the highest volume traded. Also, like if you see highest ever traded volume, right? And basically, so the market likes this catalyst, and all that you had to do was to wait and buy it on this particular day, and it went up 78%, right? And gives you if I had bought it on this day, I would have got stopped out also, right? I don't know where to put the stop. My stop is wider. I will have to take a smaller size. On this day, I buy, uh, and I am already have this. The whole idea behind DEP is the essential thing for DEP is watch list, right? You do all the work, go through the list, create watch list a night before or in the morning, and you're only going to be looking at the stocks which are in your watch list, basically, right? So these are stocks. This is the scan which I use. This and I trade this on both long and short size. So something which had made up or down 4% and made 9 million anytime in the last 25 days, right? So you start looking at it and start looking at like what is the catalyst, and obviously within this you only decide the one which has a real catalyst, right? Lululemon had a CEO resigning. I didn't think that was a valid catalyst for Lululemon, right? CEO resigning doesn't immediately change the business. They will have to do something. So this is not something which I am interested in, right? And basically, but something where there is a catalyst, like here, Valero Energy. This is the Venezuela as a catalyst. I cannot understand what is likely to happen here, right? And basically, but if this sets up nicely and has a pullback and then sets up as something like this, right? I would be a buyer, something like this if it sets up, right? Because we don't know what is the likelihood of this anything working, right? And most of the oil CEOs themselves say they are not really interested in going to this thing. So only on stocks which has a valid catalyst or your analysis shows this is the stock which I need to stock, right? So here, this is a good example of one which I did last year, right? So here on this particular day, HIMS had a clear catalyst, right? The catalyst was it is tying up with Novana disk. And how do you know that this is a very good catalyst? Again, look at the volume, right? The volume is one of the highest volume ever traded on the stock. So the market really likes it. It didn't close near the high, doesn't matter. Basically, but the stock. And then I was just waiting because I knew the tie up with NVO is a game changing catalyst, right? And on this day, once like this is the entry day, right? So I already had this in my watch list. All that I had to do was to enter it based on that particular news, right? So it is a very simple thing and lazy way to do it, because on the day of the EP, you don't know what is going to happen. You don't know how much volume is going to come, right? You're taking a blind bet, or sometimes like they just start selling off, right? And everything looks very good, and the stock just sells off. So you have no idea what is going to happen, right? Or you have no control. While on a delayed reaction, you're looking from a watch list. You already know what is the catalyst. You had time to do your studies and everything, right? You have everything, and you just have 3 or 4 stocks which are setting up nicely, which you are watching, and then as soon as they start breaking out, you can get into them, right? And basically you don't need to even wait for them to show up in your scan or things like that. You're just uh, looking at them, and as soon as they meet your criteria, yeah, you look at the same thing as what you look for, right? And 3 tight days, 2 tight days, or like some sort of a volatility contraction or a orderly pullback, right? And if you see now, and this setup works equally well on the short side also, right? Whenever you have shorts, it works exceedingly well on short side. In fact, I like the short side of this setup so much that I like, and I always look for delayed reaction shorts when there is a thing here again. Like this is the earnings day, right? This is the earnings day. You see that blue thing, right? And then this is where you do enter. If you entered here, you would have got stopped out. You didn't know what is the reaction. Now you know there is a catalyst. You just wait for. So it's a very easy, lazy people's way of doing things. This process is all simple. What you do is you go through the list of stocks which have in last 25 days had earnings or sales catalyst, and once that particular stock has reacted positively, you see big volume also. You see everything is like making sense, because this particular stock has like a catalyst, right? And the catalyst is valid, right? Here the catalyst is valid. Stock has like a good earnings and sales, TSSI, but like it pulls back. Now here, if it was not in your watch list, still like here, this is the start of a swing, gives you an entry, and it makes 179%, right? So same way on the short side, there is a negative catalyst. If you short it here, you're going to get like this thing. You wait for a first negative bar or something like that, and short it, right? So it's a very controllable kind of a thing where you have a control, right? And here 199 million capitalization. If you see the sales or earnings on this, the sales or earnings were like in a phenomenal, right? And if you see here, they were like in a triple digit kind of a thing. So what you do, you capitalization, you wait, and then you buy it as a delayed reaction on the thing, right? CRDO again, right? And a lot of like once it's like on the, and many times when I cannot understand, or I don't see the setup as something which is like or the information on that day, like on this day, right? SMR had earnings, and I looked at it and I wasn't really convinced like this is something, but I saw that it reacted positively. It had a 9 million EP. I waited and I bought it here as a delayed reaction EP, and it made 78% move, right? And basically, so any stock which has a positive catalyst, and it can be a real catalyst, it can be a story stock, right? And it doesn't matter which we looked at. And in fact, and stories can also have a delayed reaction. It just doesn't really matter whether you take it on a story stock, or once you know the reaction, all that you're looking for is a low risk entry. And this happens also on the short side, right? Otis came out with earnings, and the earnings on Otis were not good, right? But if you had shorted on this day, you would have got stopped out. And if you shorted, where will you put your stop? Your stop is going to be very wide, right? Your stop will be very wide. You wait, and this is the first start of a swing, and you short. Uh, Kawa comes out with earnings. Earnings are like, they miss earnings, right? And basically, the earnings are not very good, right? And if you wait, you short it here. I tried it 2, 3 times, and then like, and finally it started going down, right? Right. So it's all just a question of you going through this list of stocks and looking for something which had a move on a catalyst, right? Now here, let's say this Oklo news, to which the stock reacted positively, but like, and it didn't go up, right? And if it pulls back and it forms orderly pullback, it will become a delayed reaction setup. Now, when you are going to do a delayed reaction, right? Because you're operating from a watch list, you already have the stock, you know you're going to buy it because it has a catalyst. You can put up larger position than if you're buying it on the day of the earnings. On the day of the earnings, you don't know, right? And whether it is going to have like in a positive reaction. Sometimes they just sell off, right? And basically, this is like in a GEV that day was going up, right? And if you bought it based on the catalyst, you would be like completely knocked out, right? You wait for like especially on institutional quality stock. This gives you such a low risk entry here again. Like Hood had a earnings, I think, and after the earnings, it goes up, it pulls back, very orderly pullback, and that also tells you that when there is a orderly pullback, that the buyers are really not going to give up on this thing. Wait for a delayed reaction, and it gives you such a nice entry because by that time, right, the people who looked at it on the day of the earnings, they lost interest in that stock. They are just like not even interested, right? And basically, or they have like they are on to some other new stock. That what you do is you wait for a delayed reaction to set up, and once a delayed reaction sets up, you just like go there and do it, and this is all that is there. All that you need to do is to look for this stock, this list of 400 stocks which have positively reacted to earnings or some catalyst. There is a clear catalyst, right? And once if they're setting up, all that you need to do is to like put that on your watch list. But if you're going to be doing delayed reaction EP, then you have to be really focused on your watch list, because if you don't really enter it early, then you are defeating the purpose of doing all this work, right? And basically, if you wait for it to confirm, or you wait for relative volume, or if you wait for all those kind of things, there is just no thing for it, right? And basically, so all that you need to do is go through this list, both long and short, see what stock had a big reaction to earnings or to a big reaction to a story, and it's up, and then you wait and find the first, right, the first valid pullback or an anticipation. This I missed this because that day there were so many other options, right? But like this is what I was looking at. I researched this on that day. I didn't really enter it, but this should have been the entry day. But on that day, you had like so many other EPs also, that there was only so much you can do. But that was like in a very low risk entry for this kind of a setup, right? And basically where there's a catalyst, and see from there, the stock has made 14%. For that kind of size of a stock, it's a large move, right? And on the short side, it's the same thing. You get a short, you get some kind of a negative, like here now, the Starlink exclusive contract. The stock went up, right? Immediately did a secondary. Now, if this is a highest volume, right, and it's one of the highest volume, right, and you have time to research, and if you research and you see that this is a valid catalyst, what do? You wait for it to pull back couple of days, right, or go sideways, and the first valid day when it starts showing strength, you get in, right? So this will be something which is worth watching because there is the highest volume, and this whole thing about Starlink, Elon Musk, space, is all like things which is flying, right? And so it's a theme, right? And it's a theme, and that's a good setup, right? And basically, so that is one stock which you can put it on your watch list to watch, kind of a thing. um, Most of the EPs which have come out currently, they don't have immediate like earnings or sales as a catalyst. The bunch of EPs which came in from the first day of trading have come in because of the overall market being a EP overall. Now here is a stock, right, which I research. EcoSO, right? Applied is spinning up its high business and merging it with EcoSO, and then they are going to change the name of this stock, right? Now it like has a valid catalyst. You, if it starts like having a orderly pullback and this thing breakout just as a story stock, you can buy it because that volume is the highest volume, right? That volume is the highest volume traded, 110 million shares traded for that thing, right? Basically, yeah, it had a breakout. This was also delayed reaction, like an entry. It didn't like, and it did make a 21% move, right? And so so you just keep looking for a low risk entry after the first day's momentum has been established. You know the catalyst, you know why it is likely to go up, you had time to research it, and then all that you are doing is you're just waiting and waiting for the entry which is the lowest risk entry, right? It has to be, for me to get involved in any delayed reaction EP, it has to be meeting the criteria of on the earnings day. It should have a 9 million plus breakout, and it should have, otherwise, what is the point, right? And it doesn't have a valid setup, or like the market is not really excited by that thing. Why do I want to get into something? Yeah, all idea of EP is to try and find a trade which is going to make 40, 50, 100, 200%. So again, when you're doing your analysis and your analysis shows that this particular stock has a potential to make 100, 200, 300% move, that's the one which you get excited about, right? You don't get excited about something which is just going to make 10% or 20% move. You wait for the one which has the real catalyst, or not necessarily real catalyst, but it has a thematic catalyst or a real catalyst, and you see that what is the thing. Yeah, means like, and if it shows up on a combo bullish, I will still buy it. But then if that is your objective of doing delayed reaction EP, right? It's a waste of, you miss the point, right? You miss the point because when you are buying the, like, and you could have bought AEVA. Once I pointed out AEVA, right? So you, what will be your stop? 17%. By the time it showed up in your scan, right? The stock, just like by the time you would figure it out, you're 13%. So you're just, then what is the point of doing this work, right? Means you have to give the whole idea. There are only three ways to make money in the market, right? Be first, be smart, or cheat. So if you wait for a confirmation, good luck, right? And basically, make sure that you have a good job, right? And basically, or a rich wife, right? So look for like something which has a catalyst and wait for it to set up. And then once it sets up, all that you're looking for is a low risk entry. And you can like go on a lower time frame and make an entry. You can, so that like you get a really good entry also, right? And basically, the whole idea of doing, objective of doing this is to like wait for a better entry, right? If you're just like, if your idea is to just buy SOS, this particular setup is not for you, right? And unfortunately, this setup is not for you there, right? So if you see currently, if you go through this, there are only a couple of them like FlyX. This is not really a delayed reaction, right? EKSO that already made a delayed reaction. The action doesn't really inspire much confidence. NVTS, which I already am in, right? LAR is not something that was just an anticipation. So two stocks to monitor, right? And that's it, right? And it means like, and you want to get into these big trades like in a stocks which had like big volume and a catalyst, and not, you didn't buy it on the first day because you didn't understand catalyst, or you didn't even know whether the market will react positively, negatively, or what will it do. All that you're doing is you're waiting, and once you find a low risk entry, you can do a size which might be 3 4 times bigger size than you would have done on the day of the uh, thing, right? NVO. Uh, it's like, and now you're trying to catch a flight to North Korea, and it is just like an a uh, halfway through, or like, and it has gone. You miss the opportunity, right? It's too late. Only valid entry on this kind of a thing was here, right? You missed it. You missed it. Bad luck, right? We'll send you to Venezuela, or we'll send you to Iran now. Right? The whole objective of doing this is to not to miss that. The only reason I didn't buy it on this day is this was showing up on the same day. You had like in a bunch of these EOSC and uh, ONDS and all other stocks also showing up, right? And so too many ideas. Otherwise, like, and it was on my watch list, right? And basically, and that's it. Basically, there is like an end. And if you're a, like an a, if you don't want to like an a go into story stock in the real catalyst also, you can also do just institutional quality. There is a couple who presented, and they are coming and meeting me on Tuesday, right? And they are coming to meet me again, right? And they only trade delayed reaction EP, right? Nothing else, no other setup, no SIPs, no startup swing, nothing, right? And only delayed reaction EP they trade. What they do is they're a husband wife team, so they do the research in the night. They will only if they find 10 delayed reaction EP setting up, they're going to prioritize it to only 5 ideas, right? Only those 5 ideas, they put it into their IB. Everything is ready. They calculate what size they are going to do, what stops they are going to do, and they only trade, right, from 9:30 to 10:30. If it doesn't uh, do this in that time frame, next day they will come and do it. And they made like in a more than on a large account, right, and not a small account. They'll be double their account, right, and 2 times, 2 years in a row, just doing DEP, right? They have kids, smaller kids, so they have to go and pick up the kid from the daycare. They have one kid who is like, and he comes back from school, so they have only 9:30 to 10:30, and they do the research in the night. They come out with the ideas, right, and basically, and they don't even do these story stocks and all. They only do institutional quality stocks, but then they can put big position, right? They can put big position, and with a large account they can put $1 million, more than $1 million at work on this delayed reaction. Like they presented in the boot camp, right? And Google was their big trade which they did as a delayed reaction right after earnings. It came in and they like bought a big position. So obviously the bigger stocks are not going to make those explosive move, but you can still find very low risk uh, delayed reaction entries on stocks like this, right? And eBay or things like that where you have a catalyst, right? NBIS, yes. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, here, delayed reaction EP, right? That was the one which they entered. There is a clear catalyst, right? And here, total contract. This also, I also did this as a delayed reaction. This is the kind of thing, right? So, delayed reaction EP is for those who want to avoid the crowd, who are not really like sharp enough to understand on the day of the EP whether this is going to fly or not. The only thing is that where this will not work is if you have a very small stock, heavily neglected, capitalization is very low, then it is just going to go and take off, right? And basically, it is not going to give you an opportunity to do a delayed reaction EP. But all the other stocks and most of the stocks nowadays, because of the way they gap up, right? And they gap up so much, that they tend to have a pullback after the first day most of the time, right? And then what you do is you just like wait for a delayed reaction. Now, one variation of delayed reaction, which is very common, which I did on APLD yesterday, is that on the day of the catalyst, the stock doesn't really do much. It goes up, fades, or it even actually ends near the low. But the next day, it starts the move. SGMT last year, SGMT was an example like that, right? On the day of the earning, positive clinical trial data, nothing happened, right? And next day it started going up, and then it went 154%. So there are variations of the same idea which can be do, right? And a bumble on the short side, bumble, right? And basically here, and you wait for a delayed reaction here, and you short there. And obviously on the short side, you're not going to get the same kind of returns as the long side, but the shots are so like nobody is there in those delayed reaction shots most of the time, right? So if you see like another recent one which I had highlighted, Lamb Watson, right? Again on that day, I had like in a more better setups than this, so I didn't get into it. But look at it, margin pressure due to computation analysis, and the analyst have put a target of 30. So there is a big this thing. This was the day when it should be shorted, right? Because that's start of a swing. Yeah, it's the second day action, right? And it's a very common thing, happens a lot of time nowadays, right? Look at bunch of shots. Shots is though like doing delayed reaction shots is like so easy because people are more excited about the long side, right? Here, XYZ earnings comes in, misses earnings. If you short that day, you don't know what is going to happen. You wait for a delayed reaction, and it gives you a very nice delayed reaction entry. Chipotle Mexican Grill misses earnings, right? And then rallies for one day, and then this is the delayed reaction, and it kept on going up, right? Anyway, going down, right? Uh, so many times you're going to find these kind of setups that it is like, you don't even need to do anything else but to just focus on delayed reaction. If here goes down because of earnings, right? You don't short it there, you wait, and here delayed reaction EP, and it goes down 2027, right? So delayed reaction EP is like such a simple idea, and many times on something like biotechnology and drug stocks where I don't really understand the catalyst, right? All that I do is there is some catalyst here, right? You know that catalyst is good because that volume was really really big, right? And one of the biggest volume in last 2 or 3 days, and this is where, and it all actually like here also itself like this was delayed reaction starting, and then stock goes and makes this move, right? uh, Lily, yeah, last year, right? And basically experimental shortcuts body weight, next day it goes up, right? And so many means like once you start looking at it, you will see so many of these kind of a thing in terms of like entries where you can just like wait for a better entry and then do a better and a bigger entry, and especially on these biotech and technology kind of stocks where there is like so here positive clinical for CD drug which is non-vaccine preventive, right? And then it had this big volume, and then you just wait for a delayed reaction and it makes this move, right? So, and because people are not focused on a setup like this, right? And on the day, they are all focused on things which are like current, right? And everybody was focused on Venezuela, right? And then now Venezuela is gone out of the news, right? And then now Iran is on, so everybody is focused on Iran, right? So you go and drop a few bombs in uh, this thing, Venezuela, who's going to notice? Nobody cares, right? And even Venezuela will not be even focused on you, saying, "Okay, these guys are distracted," right? So that's what like happens, right? And basically, so that's how you look at, right? And look for, and again study these, right? And here, Vera stream, right? This is a valid catalyst because the volume is there. There is a breakdown, right? But you don't short because they tend to like in a counter trend bounce is over. here, delayed reaction short, right? So what I do is I just go through this list, create my watch list, and also like and I look for anything which is setting up, and just keep looking for a low risk entries. And sometimes, especially on the charts, right? What you will see is that you will get multiple entries on a delayed reaction, because on the short side they go down, right? Again, some fool things like tries his luck and it goes up, and again like it goes down, right? Because if there is a broken business means something has gone wrong with this particular business, right? It just doesn't going to come back, right? Chipotle Mexican Grill is not a technology stock. Something goes wrong with Chipotle Mexican Grill, it takes them couple of quarters, 2 3 quarters to correct that problem, right? So it is going to keep on going down, and all that you have to do is to just wait for a delayed reaction entry, and then keep on hammering the same stock again and again. PayPal missed earnings, right? And basically, and it had missed earnings, right? And then delayed reaction EP, again delayed reaction EP, right? So you have so many opportunities. Like if you decide to not even play all these like EPs and all and just focus on delayed reaction EP, you'll still find anywhere between 200 to 300 opportunities. And you have enough time to do all the analysis. You don't have to get up early in the morning and scramble around. You don't have to try and do opening range breakout or go scramble to get in, and you don't know what is going to happen. You just you're like a cat sitting there, right? And watching, right? All these people have made it and got out, the day trader sips people and all, or there is a valid catalyst. You just wait, see what is the volume, and then go, right? Yeah, yeah, right. And then it made 42%. And this is what you are doing is just not entering on the day of the earnings. If there is a obviously if there is a obvious catalyst and it's a small cap, very nano cap, and it has I don't wait for delayed reaction because it's going to go just straight up, right? Basically, but for a larger stocks or Abercrombie and Fitch, or say for that matter Coles, right? And I had that day this thing, right? And here there was and then delayed reaction, right? And so you can get so many opportunities, and you don't have to be doing all the scrambling around and things like that. Create a watch list. What is the process for delayed reaction EP? Run a DEP process, right? And ultimately you just need a process, right? And I run a DEP. In the night or in the morning, whichever time is suitable for you. Go through every stock which had a 9 million EP, bullish or bearish, in last 25 days. Look for an orderly pullback, or a 2T or a 3T setup. Have a watch list. Prioritize the watch list. Like if you have too many candidates, prioritize. Take everything out, put it in your broker, keep orders ready, right? And the moment you just enter, right? Size can be bigger because you don't have this thing, right? Yeah, you don't even wait for it to break out. If it's something like this, right? Now, classic example of a story stock, which is like NVTS, right? Now, if I had not entered it as an anticipation setup, if it opens positive tomorrow, even 10 cents, right, and it is up or down 1 cents, do you need to wait for it to like an hours breakout, or if it opens to 5, 10 cents, you just get in, right? And what is the worst thing which is going to happen? You'll get stopped, or you can put a very close stop, right? And that's it. It happens in earnings, it happens in everything, right? And it happens on, especially for these institutional quality stock, right? This is such a nice way to enter, because in institutional quality stock, they have a catalyst, right? And after the catalyst, they tend to pull back, because if they gap up too much, right, they pull back and then they make these moves. Obviously, in institutional quality stocks, so many of them will are not going to make those kind of 50 100% move. Some of them will, but like, and you just wait, and you wait for them to have a 9 million ep, and after a 9 million ep, you just wait for a delayed reaction entry, and do a delayed reaction entry, and you don't have to even have a scanning software. You don't need to have all those kind of things, right? And you just wait for Progressive Corporation gap down, right? EP 9 million, wait for short, and short the shit out of it, because it's a institutional quality stock, right? And they can't fix their business immediately. So just like, and I wait for a delayed reaction, right? Uh, if something is like gapping up, wait for it, find out what is the catalyst, wait for it, and look for a delayed reaction, right? Danher that day had like a catalyst, nothing happened, like in a pullback, and then it made a move. You can just like do this, right? And that is exactly what a lot of people after the season boot camp, the working people have done that, right? And here, J&J had a 9 million EP, right? You can buy it as a delayed reaction here, and it still makes a move, right? And basically, I like to see a big volume. I like to see a catalyst and theme and big volume, right? And the one which has the highest volume, I'm definitely going to be, because volume is participation, right? Volume tells you that that is where the money is, right? And if FISV, right, and there is a earnings miss or like something, you wait for a delayed reaction and just keep doing, right? Stop is not previous day's low. Why will I put a previous day's low stop, right? And I mean, so really, if you are going to do that, right, you might as well like just buy and put random stop, right? What is the whole idea of doing delayed reaction EP? What is the one single most objective of doing a delayed reaction EP? To get an ultra low risk stop, right? On the day of the earnings, if you entered a position and put a 20% or 25% stop, right? Yeah, you can like do that, but then you're taking crazy risk, right? You find a delayed reaction EP and you put in entered it with a 1% or 2% stop. Can I put in a lot more capital at work than like putting in a 20 or 25% stop? Where do I put stop? I buy the stock and put it at the low of the day, right? Yeah, you might as well enter on the day of the catalyst, but then put 25% stop. Then can you really do 50%, 100% of your account on that position? No, right? You will be a homeless person sitting outside Goldman Sachs saying, please, please give me donut money, give me money to eat something, right? And please reduce the credit card debt on my this thing, right? And yeah, whole idea of this is to find a ultra low risk. You want to put a close stop, right? And because if you put a very close stop, you get stopped out, no problem, right? You can try it second time, you can try it three times with a very low risk. So you can do a higher thing, right? What is mathematical stop? I have no idea what is mathematical stop, right? And you just put some small 2.5 or less percent. The whole idea of DEP for me is to get into an EP with 2.5% or less stop, right? Sometimes if I'm convinced about it, I'll go to 4 or 5%, but that is the idea. If I do this same trade as an EP, right? And if this same trade as an EP, if I had tried to do, what stop I would have required to not get shaken out in this position? Tell me. What would be the size of the stop which is required on this particular thing? Some 18 or 19%, right? You enter it here, you're watching it, and if you people remember, I was watching that, right? And then that day on the delayed reaction, I said, like, this stock has really good catalyst, right? And then what actually happened on this day is at some stage at around 3 o'clock, it was looking like a reversal bullish, and I entered it as a reversal bullish with a close stop, and then it actually last minute sold up a little bit, but I kept holding, and next day it just got out. I added more to it and just moved my stop and just like and I wrote the thing. If you want to do something which is like in a low risk kind of a trading with not like in a putting wide stop, right, and putting in lower capital, then do DEP. Otherwise, just keep doing what you are put like in a 30-40% stop. Because nowadays many stocks gap up and make 40% on the day of the EP. So what is your stop going to be? Yeah, if it starts going up after a pullback, you are like, you want to, obviously, you want to find a setup, right? Like AEVA was a good setup, right? Here again, you want to buy a setup, you don't want to randomly buy, right? This was like perfect, right? And 2 tight days after the thing, so yeah, you always find a setup, right? Same thing for this thing, right? Whenever you're getting into EP 9 million or any one of these stock, right? What you have to always look at is what is the potential for this stock to make a move, right? Based on this particular volume, based on the capitalization and all these things, I think that this stock has a potential of around 40 to 50%. So if it makes 40 to 50%, that is when I would start tightening my stop. If it starts making 100%, I would definitely sell 80%, keep 20%. Keep moving your stop, right? And keep moving your stop. Everything which you want to do on a EP side, you only want to get into an EP unless it's a large cap kind of a EP. If you see a potential, only put a stock on your delayed reaction EP watch list if it has a potential to make 40 to 50% plus move, right? And then give it a room to run, right? Otherwise, like, why are we doing this EP? You might as well just do plain breakouts, right? And a plain breakouts, you're going to make 8 to 10%, right? Here is a good example of like here, and you can find this kind of thing, right? BW on this particular day there was a catalyst 1.5 billion data center contract from Applied Digital, yeah, and plus insider buying, right? And stock did like in a good volume, right? And basically, and then if you had tried to buy it that day, you'd have got stopped out, right? Is the catalyst valid? The catalyst was valid, and then you got a delayed reaction. And if you notice, in 3 days the stock made 67%, right? So based on this catalyst, if you thought it was going to go like 40-50%, the moment it made 40-50% in 3 to 5 days, what is what should be your strategy? I think if you want to see specific catalyst, you need to see the morning video, right? I discussed catalyst, what catalyst work, right? Didn't I do a thorough this thing as to what catalyst to look at and all in that thing, right? This is only focused on delayed reaction EP. Anybody here, right, who's serious about making money, please, for your own sake, right, see the videos. Don't just come in and like start like showing up and then start like anything. There is a reason why I'm doing this intensive so many videos, because I know people, new people keep joining, they don't, but the onus is on you, right, to do the work. Like, who wants to make money, right? I make my own money. by buying EPs and SOS and all, right? If you want to make money, whose onus it is to make sure that you go through the videos and like do the things, right? And here, I just did like today morning only, episodic pivot, life-changing setup, story EP, the biggest opportunity. So I discussed all the catalyst here, right? I discussed the catalyst here. I discussed the catalyst here, right? Basically. Now this is the series, right? And this is part of that thought process of DEP. Now if you just show up and start asking question without doing these two videos, it just doesn't work that way, right? DEP is a entry tactic, right? DEP to me is a entry plus sizing tactic, right? The same trade, by delaying the reaction, this thing, what you can do is you can get a close stop and size it. As a result of that, what happens? If I had taken a stock on the day of the EP, because if it requires 15-20% stop, I might end up taking only 10% position, right? Now, if I can get a 2.5% stop, how much can I put in? And the stock is still going to make the thing, right? And if you can put in more at risk, one trade, if it goes up 40%, and if you have like 50% of your account on it, 40%, 50% is going to move your account in increment of 20-25%, right? Yeah, even on margin, sometimes if there is a catalyst which is like really big catalyst, good catalyst, yeah. Any stock, right? Any stock which is real catalyst or a story catalyst, it doesn't matter, right? And if you are getting, and as we have seen, this is why you have to see the video, right? It means it's the same, right? And stories make bigger moves. So why only go for like it doesn't matter, right? And if you have two kids, do you favor one or the other, or like they're same, right? And if stories make bigger moves, why not stories, right? Theme, stories, anything, right? And which has a reason to go up, right? It's the same, right? So delayed reaction EP, which is like basically entry tactics where you are like watching and waiting and then entering that trade after the initial reaction has died down. And a lot of time what happens if there is a initial like this here, right? On this day it didn't react, and then like it made the move, right? And there is a lot of profit taking, there is a lot of this thing, right? And basically um, people who have bought it in advance, they sell, right? Yeah. The DB is, it's a very nice setup idea, right? And here MDT, right? And this day there's earnings, the stock went up, then pull back. On this day you enter, right? Obviously, if you're entering these kind of stocks, they are not capable of making big moves, right? Unless they have some kind of a catalyst, means like obviously there are stocks here also which can go up double or triple also, but very few are going to do that, right? And basically. Uh, the other factors remain, which is like in a smaller capitalization, younger stock, and all those things. Right. Huh. Again, DEP is a catalyst-based way of trading. These are all like all these are part of the same logic, which is EP, right? Or EP 9 million can be DEP, or it can be DEP 9, right? And sugar babies. This is a family of setup idea with the same objective. All these are going to move your account in increment like or the stock is, you only get into this with the intention that these are going to make 40% to 100, 300%, 800, 1000% move. So you're buying something with a catalyst, and you're not just buying something with a catalyst, you're buying something with a catalyst after doing analysis of the catalyst and to figure out based on this catalyst and your analysis how much this stock is going to make a move. So you see that the stock is likely to make 50, 100, 300% move, right? Then you get involved. That is the only thing which you put in on your delayed reaction EP. Don't put like some shitty stock just for like it showed up in a scam. Yes, you are trading a method which is, and what is the skill here? What is the number one skill which is required in order to trade this? Ability to understand catalyst, ability to analyze, ability to project how much this will move the stock. These are essential, right? These are essential skills. So if you don't have those skills, what should you do? You work on this, right? And you keep working on this to develop this. You may not have this at in the beginning when you start doing this EP 9 million or EP 9 million or something, you are going to be a bumbling fool. But if you continue to do it for 6 weeks, you will be good. And if you continue to attend these videos and see these videos and keep using the information, another 100 people from here might end up in another 5 years making 100 million plus. So do you want to be in the 100 million plus person, or you want to be just one who shows up and don't do anything and don't work on it? This is not very hard setup, right? And it's a reasonably easy setup, right? And you look at like say APLD now. The stock has already made a move, right? And it's already 8.4 million. A lot of this is priced in, right? And so from this EP, what is it going to make? Based on analyst estimate and everything, they're talking about $40 to $45 as an estimate, right? So that's around 40%, which is good enough, right? It's not something which you have found as a primary setup. It is not the first time this is doing. So 40%, if you can make and if it can make 40%, which it made out of that 20% yesterday itself, right? Yesterday itself it made almost 18%. So another 15. Is that a good trade? Right. Right. All these things will make sense to you if you set up a process. You go through the DEP list, create your own watch list, look at, analyze it, and you have all the time in the world, right? You have all the time in the world because it's not like in the morning you need to get up and go and look for what is the thing, ask 10 people. No, you can go see the x-rays will be clear by the time. Many times on the EP in the morning, if it comes out, the x-rays are not clear because they are not updated the information. You're not even clear. Now all that you're doing is you're just researching everything. You found that look, and this is the thing which is, then you just wait for a delayed reaction. Right? Many ways to skin the cat. I'm going to show you many ways to skin the cat. You have the best setup ideas which have people, and so many people. You have to, I don't have to say this, right? Go on Twitter and see all these people. What are they trading? What setup are these people trading? See how many people who are like in the all these competitions or anything. What setup are they trading? They may not want to acknowledge that they were members of like a stock b. I know somebody who's running a newsletter, and I know that I've seen him in the boot camp. He chewed my brain for 1 hour. Now he's passing on those ideas as his own ideas, right? That is going to happen. But what do you see all these people trading? Yeah, bucket 01, if it is there, it is already done, right? Right. What are they trading? Tell me, what are they trading? Right? Same idea with a different name, right? Basically. Yeah. Or they were StockBee members, right? Or they were StockBee members, or they are members of StockBee under girlfriend or wife or sugar baby's name, right? And basically, what is the like an APLD, right? And basically, you're saying that it didn't make an earning surprise. It has no catalyst, right? Oh man, I cannot even believe this, right? And basically, it has no catalyst, right? What is the thing on APLD? Like, what is the like, what are the all catalyst on APLD? First and foremost, what is the biggest catalyst on APLD? It's a theme, right? And if you just look at the X-ray, and this is exactly the kind of skill which you need to develop to understand business, to look at what is the thing, right? They are telling that they did 250%, and they are saying that their sales are going to be accelerating 98%, 46%, 112%, and 38%. If that is not something which is a catalyst, then what is the catalyst, right? Forget about the words of Rizdan interview. Means like, really, do you think that like, somebody who interviews me, they don't even know my setup, they don't understand most of the things which I'm talking about. What do you think are you going to find in that which I have not? You are going to find 1,000 times more information on this side than that this thing. Most of those people who are interviewing me, they have no clue what they're talking about, right? They don't even know the setup, right? They have no idea what next question to ask.
EG, so I did the MTRT, NTRT on this APLD. I saw
Hmm.
this one, but as in the earnings whisper, it didn't show that it's the earnings surprise. So I didn't had a confidence. Even it had a good sales acceleration, so I couldn't enter it.
If you just look at like the this thing on that day, right, on briefing.com, and look at calendar and earning results, right? And when did the APLD earnings came in? They came in on this day, right? In the night, I think. They came in on 1/7. And if you just look at this 1/7, means if you are like, unless you are blind, how many people on our timeline we're talking about APLD? Do you look at SIP's EPA analysis tab which is there on the thing? Do you look at any of that information? Like, it came out, right? And basically year to year revenue to 50%, right? And basically earnings, right? And basically surprise 0.1 actual, like an earning surprise. When they decide earning surprise, they're talking about profitability surprise. But profitability surprise, I told you, profitability doesn't matter, right? Have you seen my video? Right? Revenue consensus, right, is 86 million, right? Actual revenue is 126 million. That's like, how much surprise is that, my friend? And you're saying there is no surprise? That's like analyst were expecting 86 million as revenue, and they did 126 million as a revenue, right? That's the revenue consensus. And you say that this is not a surprise? Oh man. Yeah, even the news says applied digital bits by 0. Like, even if you look at the news which somebody has posted, right? The news itself says applied digital bits by revenue, and you are saying there is no earning surprise? I have no idea what analysis you're doing then, right? You have to put, if you want to find stock which is going to go up 40, 50%, you can't just be doing a cursory analysis, right? And you go and check everything, you see what is the news, what was the news on APLD, right? And basically see the news item, read the news item. This is not something which you can be this thing, right? If that is the level of like analysis if you're doing, I think, there is just no, right here. Applied Digital, right? Earning call lease revenue from the first. I read all of this, right? And basically, here Applied Digital beats by 11 cent beats on revenue. If you want to make money, get the right source of information, right? And basically, this thing, whatever money I pay, I don't even remember how much I pay, but this one trade has paid off this entire thing, right? Reports net break even excluding non-recurring item better than the access consensus of 11 cents. Revenue rose 250% year over year, right? Anything which has a revenue of that magnitude, 250% is going to go up, right? Yeah, you get what you pay for, right? And there are shit services, means like that's free, but like again, it's not a question of whether it is free or not. This just like a news item itself tells you that it beats by 11 cents, and it tells you that the revenue growth is 250%. And besides that, there are other so many things for Applied Digital, right? It's a sugar baby, it's like a theme, it's so. So that skill you have to develop, my friend, and that is the essential skill. If you don't have that skill, I would be like spending the midnight oil, right? Sitting tonight and looking at understanding all these things. Look to just see a video called "How to Read X-ray," right? I made a video called "How to Read X-ray." Can somebody please bump up that thing here? This is 250% this thing, right? And they're making. They're saying they're going to grow revenue at 98%, 4612, right? Reading X-rays, right? No, I want you to bump it on the site, like, and you know how to bump on the site. So whenever there is something, right, and you want to bring it on the timeline, right? Bump is you up or something, right? And that's a short form, right? If you just put bump there, right, what is going to happen is this will get bumped on the timeline. Bring up my post, right? And yeah, bring up my post. So here it bumped, right? It came in on the timeline, right? So go through, like, can I go through all the videos on EP? Every video I clarify and clarify and clarify, right? Uh, because I know people are new to this. This is something which is like a second nature to me, right? And I invented this setup. And I see so many people like copying my ideas and giving like asking people for money to do that. So I am making sure that you people understand, and every video in the series has incremental information. Now if you don't use that information, you don't know, you never seen the video of how to read X-rays, you don't have a ability to read X-rays, can you realistically do something like this? Tell me, EP and all. No, it is, you don't have to prioritize anything for earning season. 365 days. The market is not open, but DEP opportunities are there, because when you are doing DEP, what are you doing? You're not only looking at earnings, and even earnings nowadays, earnings are released throughout the year, right? And basically, you're also looking at themes, right? You're looking at stories. Like, is there anything wrong with buying stories as a delayed reaction EP? Does your bank says that look, oh, this was a story stock and you entered it as a delayed reaction EP, and this 300% move which you captured, that money we are not going to accept it. If that happens, right? When move that money to me, I'm more than happy to keep it, right? I'll keep it very safely so that you can never get it back. Please pay attention during that morning, right? There are very smart people who are telling you this, right? And EP SIPs, they post it on timeline. If you just like anywhere paying attention, right? There are analyst upgrades on APLD, right? So there are like so many people, right? And basically talking about APLD, right? APLD. right? JBM. Everybody is talking about APLD, means APLD earning will have an effect on other sugar babies, right? Daily market report. People had like that stock. Those who know, right? They were all like in a looking at that stock, right? And these things work irrespective of the market, right? If there is some catalyst, it is going to work. Doesn't matter if the market is going up or going down. Yeah. Yeah, the fly is there. Even like, and I think, and I'm sure even briefing must be having briefing also as an analyst. Analyst information is freely available. It is like isn't there like where is the calendar, events, updates, downgrades, price target raises? But the fly has a good way of doing that, right? And basically, no data found. But if you put APLD, right, and then look for it, it will show you what the analysts were saying, right? Buy price target is 99, right? So you can do the 99 is the analyst price target on this, right? Means obviously I take the analyst target with a pinch of salt, but yeah, so I'm going to the best DEP entries typically happen in the first 10 days, right? You don't want to be buying a DEP after 25 days, but sometimes it can happen because, and especially on the short side, it happens a lot. Like, the stock will have a negative catalyst, right? And it will just keep rallying for some time, right? Because there are these people, so it will go up and then it will start going down, right? And so, but on the long side, if something has a genuine catalyst, right? The market is just not going to wait for 10 days, 15 days, 20 days for it to like go in, right? And they are all going to go in. So most DEPs. So if you want to like not really, you say, "Okay, look, and I am very busy. Like I have to write tweets. I have to announce the policy about like proclamations about credit card, and I have to attack Venezuela, and then there is Iran, and I need to like find a way to put 500% tariff. So you're so busy. You can still do it by dropping this to 10 days, if 10 days or 5 days, right? Just drop it to 5 days. You'll have lesser amount of stocks. Now that is also too much for you, 206, because you're so busy trying to get like the Canadians also into your this thing, right? So just increase this threshold of volume from 8.9 million to saying, "Okay, look, and I want to only focus on things which have 50 million plus volume." So you add 1 4 there, right? And basically, and then here you have 26 stocks. Can you do a damn good job of 26 stocks? Tell me, right? If you can't do that, like, and basically, then obviously, uh, yeah, if with a real catalyst, if there is even thematically also there is a theme or a Fugazi catalyst, but there is a urgency. Most of the delayed reaction will trigger within like in a first 10 days or 5 days, 3 to 5 days, right? And basically, because the institutions are not going to wait for you, right? And basically, they are just going to go. Or even the retail traders who know this, right? And you are competing with people who know this, right? You're competing with thousands of stock B members who know this, or ex stock B members who know this, right? And basically, so they are not going to wait for you, right? Why do stock go down on the because people there is a entire industry of people who like basically would have bought APLD in anticipation of this catalyst. So when the catalyst is like they sell, right? And they sell. Like do you think Oklo news yesterday people didn't know about it? They bought it in anticipation of this news. So when the news came in, they sold, right? They're profit taking. They're short-term traders. They want to take profit, right? And basically, or some fund decides, okay, there is liquidity today. All the fools are buying today Oklo, right? Let's get rid of our 20 million shares. So they are selling the shares. Yeah, yeah. The option traders who would have bought option, so the option maker might be selling because he had like in a position, and also, yeah, it depends, right? Delayed reaction EP, DEP, lazy people's way to trade EP and still make money with low risk. Simple idea: take 9 million stocks which have gone up, reacted positively or negatively, wait for a setup, and that's it. And it works equally well on the short side. That's the beauty of it, right? And it works even better on short side. Not the same like you're not going to get 40 50. Sometimes you're going to get short 40 50%, but like and just see something which has gone down, right? And then just like look for what was the catalyst and wait for a delayed reaction. And why is there 99 million EP? Like you want a session on 99 million EP? Next you will say, can you do a session on 300 million? And then like means it's the same whether it is 99 million or 200 million, right? It's exactly the same, right? What is so different? It's the idea is the same, right? And it's whether the volume does whatever, like even in this one, and I always do this analysis by volume, right? Sidu has done a volume of 379 million. The catalyst is it won a massive contract of 150 million Golden Dome contract, right? And basically now here the capitalization is 108. When the news came in on that day, right? What was the capitalization of this stock? On this day before the news came in, right? And the capitalization was 65 million. So 150 million contract. So stock is likely to double. But is the stock market going to wait for you to like do this analysis and all? It just went crazy, right? See the videos from last 1 month or 2 months, December and January. Everything is covered multiple times, right? Everything, nothing outside of StockBit site. You're going to find any one of those other courses, people selling you, saying, oh, this is like in a master class on EP and all, is not going to give you the kind of information which is there on this site. And also, I know some of you are like sharing this with your friends and all, right? But like you don't know this. The people who are long-term members know this, right? And you are new, you're trying to do it, and we have a way to find out, right? And not only that, the content here is protected by one of the best thing, right? And the best technology which is available to mankind, right? And basically, so if you are one of those person who's doing this, right, just look down, right? You will see that your Coke can is becoming smaller and smaller. From mini Coke, it will at some time disappear, and you will spend rest of your life trying to wonder and keeping looking down, right? Yeah. Nano cap it will become, not micro cap also, right? It will become nano cap, right? Here, videos. How many videos I done about EP and mind clarity reaction EP daily process, right? Mind clarity procedural memory, SB and DEP watch list for next week, EP 9 million process, right? And basically how to set up SOS process, how to create momentum watch list, how to do your first deep dive, DEP, SB and DP, and understanding catalyst, how to find delayed reaction EP, right? And basically then delayed reaction EP watch list for next week, trading sugar babies, then how to find DEP, right? Fine tune your process, develop your trading muscles, trading sugar babies, delayed reaction EP. All this is there. How to find delayed reaction EP. So many videos, right? Okay, any questions specific to delayed reaction EP? Specific to delayed reaction EP. Okay, so no questions. I will see people sometime, right? Basically. You can play around with any one of these setup, right? And if you like and want to do it for like and say longer duration, all that you have to do, if you see that there are not enough on 25 days, right? You can look at like in a 40 days, you can look at 50 days, but it defeats the purpose, because if something is going to have a real catalyst, are they going to wait for 40 days to like do this thing? No, right? And but just to study what happened is all that you can do, right? And if you feel that this is overwhelming, increase this. Who is stopping you, right? If Trump is stopping you, tell me. I will speak to him, and I'll tell him to make a proclamation saying you are free to trade, make changes to EP 9 million, and thank you for listening. Same way as long, right? And you wait for a delayed reaction and then short it. But on the short side, I typically don't short them immediately in the morning or something. I wait for afternoon or like near the close and short them, right? This whole thing, once you understand the paradigm of EP 9 million, right? And if you can convert that into a process and create your own age and get confidence in it, you're never going to go hungry, right? Because you have EP, your EP 9 million, your DEP, you have sugar babies, right? So many opportunities, long, short, so you don't have to have worry about this at all, right? Okay, I will see you people. And for those of you who are sharing, I know what your names are, right? If you are so generous and sharing it with your friends and all, why don't you ask those stupid friends of yours to actually sign up rather than you getting into trouble, right? Because I made a list of people who are going to get into trouble next week, right? And they will find out on Monday. So in New England, I don't even know there is New England, right? And there is no chance of New England boot camp. If you want to attend a boot camp, haul your ass to New Jersey now onward, right? And basically, or like come to Las Vegas if you're in that area. I'm not going to go to Las Vegas again, or I'm not going to travel. Haul your ass to New Jersey, right? And that is where it is. Canada, to unless Canada becomes when Canada becomes part of USA, then I will do a boot camp in Canada. You want me to do that? I can like and I put a word with Trump and ask him to like and I want to do a boot camp. Can you do it quickly? Right? Okay, I will see you people. Focus on the videos. There is a lot of information in just last 2 months. I've done so many videos, right? And because I know there are new people keep joining and some of you are heavily confused, right? You have no idea what you're doing. So clarify, re-clarify, write it in your own word and start getting DEP watch list, NTRT, MTRT, SIPs. Start doing it every day. Once you start doing it, you'll just see this thing, right?